Where is this going? I'm 45, she is 36, been married for 11 years, she says 13, with 2 gals 10 and 8. My angels, my true love, I had suspected that she has been cheating until last Saturday when it hit me like a thunderbolt. Here is my story. About a month ago, a friend of mine called me and inquired if we had changed our residence. I told her no and wondered why she was asking. Well, she said she had spotted my wife's car severally parked in her apartment block, which is like 5 kilometers from my house. I told her to find out which flat she was visiting, and after a day or so she called and confirmed that the flat she visited had single man as the occupier. Immediately I got a PI to help investigate. He came back to me with a full log of her mobile usage in the last 1 month. But this is not the normal phone bill. Instead, this showed also the name of the nearest mobile phone transmitter station where her handset made or received the call duration, who it came from, so, if she had been driving you can easily track her movement, how long she stayed in a particular location, etc. In that month she had visited the said house like 10 times, all visits were for periods of 2 to 6 hours. Also, they talked or messaged each other between 5 to 10 times a day. Almost every day the first and last call would be to this contact. If I happened to have been at home it would be messages. From the document it was clear to me a full-blown relationship was ongoing. Then for the last 1 week, I was mainly at home. I studied this like 100-page document to understand her movements, and she was mostly at home also. So, I had to really hide and take drives to be alone. The pain and sense of betrayal as I went through this arduous task was immense. She strutted around the house like a queen bee, throwing silly snide remarks that a happy couple would normally engage in. She was of course oblivious of what I was doing behind her back, and you know what, I even assumed maybe the affair had cooled off because the whole week she looked so at peace, so at home. Then yesterday morning my world came crushing down. We had agreed that I would wake up early to drop my kids to a school event. Unfortunately, I overslept and the bus left them, so I had to drive to the event and take them. Then an hour or so later I get a call from my friend in the said apartment block telling me that my wife's car was parked there. I called her and she didn't pick. I think she was in the midst of the throes of vanquishing a 1-week-old desire episode. She, however, called me half an hour later, and though I could tell from the background noise that she was indoors, she cheated me that she was driving to check on the kids. She never went. Instead, she remained there till 2 to 3 p.m. and the kids were dropped back by the bus. She was very testy last night, pretending to be very tired. She probably was, actually, and avoided me by going to sleep with the kids. Not like I cared at all. Today we have basically been robots. Went to church and afterwards stayed indoors. Initially I thought I will get the PI to install cameras and get video footage in the other man house, but I don't really think that is necessary anymore. I'm planning to make my move this week. First, I will ask her, and I'm sure she will deny. She avoids having any kind of conversation with me, and I'm sure she will run away from this one, so is planning to call one of her friends as I break the news to her. I want to end this marriage forthwith. The house we are living in is a rental, so I am happy to leave her in this house just so that I don't unfairly interrupt the kids' life and education without a proper plan. I intend to leave by weekend, so I must look for a house and furnish it. I don't want her, and I actually don't think she is capable at all. The main thing to discuss is our kids, and that we can do when we are not sharing the same roof. Ours will be a no-contest divorce, that I'm sure. Unless she changes tune. We have had a couple go through such a painful divorce that she swore never to want to undergo the same. Concerning my wanting to move out instead of her, I think you make more sense, especially with the abandonment notion and kids' custody. But I think I know how she thinks. She knows I'm a good father and would very much want me to be a part of the kids' lives. As to bringing a man to the house, that I doubt. This is a gated community and everyone know everyone else. In any case, I'm planning to expose her to 2 of her best friends who live here. She would find it had to bring a man here, at least for the foreseeable future. Talking of a man, if this woman was to move out, she would demand being the primary caregiver for our kids. In a new environment, I fear she would more easily bring in men there because she has nobody to hide from. That I'm almost certain. It's not a mental issue, but rather she always wants to feel she has been married for a long time so that the marriage can sound stable. I actually think she is surprised it has survived this long, also. I didn't mention in my original post that in the phone records I have been looking at, and these only cover a 1-month period, she has visited her ex-boyfriend's house in 2 different afternoons. This is the chap she had before I married her. And in 2 different occasions she has made over 1-hour long distance calls to yet another ex. So why do I want to expose her and yet I don't want R? This woman will lie through her teeth, she will badmouth me, I know her. She will come up with stories that I'm the one who left her and the children, that I abandoned them. That she always knew I would do that, well, I can live with all that. But I also foresee a situation where she might want to poison my kids' minds by making up these stories. It's not beyond her at all. So I'm exposing her to her family and close friends so that she can't turn tables round on me. She is quite capable of doing that. Someone had to alert me of her presence in the said apartment building, then looking back to this period that she was cheating. She acted so normal, I always thought our physical life was always good, but it now sounds stupid to say that. Clearly I wasn't the only guy. Now about how she will deny and deny, yes, I expect that, so. This is what I intend to do. I want to draft a message to her sister, brother, dad, mum, and at least 10 close friends and relatives, and it will read something like this. My wife X is dating this new man called X. He lives at X. Please join me in sending congratulatory messages to the lucky couple as they start their new lives together. I often feel she has so little regard for my feelings, intelligence, and respect. I mean, how can she go sleep with the OM on Saturday morning and during the Sunday service she happily sits like next to me and starts furiously typing notes in her phone highlighting important Bible verses? At this point in my life, however, I know rationality may not be my strongest attribute, so I will seek those with varying opinions on this issue to guide me. My main worry at this point is just my children's needs. She knows that the children are her biggest bond to me in knowing her. She will not hesitate to use them to meet this need. She would love nothing more than to fight for their upkeep because through them she will get financial support. Also, they are good kids and I can think her wanting to keep them to remind her of how a semblance of a normal life looks like. At least in the short term. She doesn't work. So she is the primary caretaker of the kids. Lastly, I relocated the family from my previous home to the current residence to be near my new business. Now that the business has established, I no longer need to live here. I would love to relocate to my previous home. People mention that I sound almost eager to be ending this marriage. That is true, we have had a lousy marriage. This woman checked out a long time ago. Maybe 3 years into the marriage. This is going to be the second time I caught her in an affair. The first time we had false R, I really didn't know how to handle it then, and I was desperate to be married so as to look normal without knowing the toll this would eventually have in my life. Now that this is happening the second time, I see it as my opportunity to reinvent myself. Work out my life afresh. Look for someone whom we can have a normal, true relationship. Share conversations, hang out together, and truly care for each other. This type of marriage this woman wants us to have is simply not my kind of thing. This is an awful marriage. 1. Yes, I have myself thought the common friend is enjoying this too much, but then I ask, so what? Does it change or affect the facts? No, it doesn't. Is it true that she visits the other man? Yes. Does she park her car there for the world to see? Yes. Does she spend hours with other man in his house? Yes. Also please remember that were it not for this friend, I would never have known about this. 2. Severally parked means it was seen parked in the other man apartment block a number of times in different days. 3. My W doesn't have a job purse. She does part-time office supplies. She can stay for days just hanging around. She does not look for work. And she has house helps who come in and do house chores from time to time. Things like washing clothes, ironing, cleaning the house are done that way. So, when kids go to school, she has the whole day to herself, and she can extend that to say 10 to 11 p.m. In the few days I have been out of town, the phone records I have shown her talking to the other man at 4 a.m., meaning she just got home and was alerting him that she is safe. 4. So why do I drive away as if I'm hiding? To read and interpret the phone records that I got from the PI has taken many hours. It has meant that I have to refer to my own diary to know where I was at particular times when she was with the other man. Also, I have needed to true caller many of the contacts she has been talking to know whom she has been talking to create a proper pattern of her movements and to map her meetings with the other man has been tedious. I can't exactly remove a 100-page dossier and place it on the coffee table and start perusing her phone records. Can I? Some discretion was necessary. 5. I was to drop the kids where the bus was to pick them. Being a Saturday, this was not a normal school event. They were going on a school tour and both parents and teachers had agreed that we from them at a common pickup point. 6. Church. Maybe she goes there for the purpose of repentance. Maybe she subscribes to the doctrine that she can sing the whole week, and so long as she confesses to God on Sunday, her sins will be forgiven, maybe. 7. Ultimately, the decision of whether it is me to leave or her should, in my opinion, be pegged strictly on my kids' welfare. This woman will create so much drama claiming that she can't be separated from her kids and whatnot. My kids are innocent. For them, I can leave them in this house. I will even pay for at least 3 more months so that they are not thrown to the streets. This woman cannot afford the rentals I pay for this house. Why punish my kids for the shortcomings of their parents? We have 3 beautiful dogs, but the more our marriage has deteriorated, the more she has neglected them. She actually mistreats them as a way of getting at me. I can relate with your situation. Chances are my wife will probably relocate to another country. And I don't see her going with the kids. The reason she keeps contacts with her exes is for this exact reason. One lives in UK, the other in Canada, and if it came to that, I would probably be the happiest man I can imagine. I would love to personally bring up my gals in a way I know they are not being brought up at this time. She is a good mother to the children, but sometimes she confuses her myopic worldview with reality. And a number of times when we have had differences, I have seen her draw the kids into our fights in a way to win their sympathy. My kids deserve to be brought up to appreciate the true beauty of a woman is in her values, personality, and character, not in whorish and loose morals. Moving now can only happen after I confront her. Something that almost everyone here has advised me not to do until the lawyers give me proper advice how to handle this. And after I confront her, I expect at first, for at least 1 week, she will be crappy and appear like she can move on. In fact, since I believe her sister knows about her very well, I expect they will gang up and even undertake to pay for this house for the foreseeable future. Such future will at most be 3 months. After that, she will probably relocate to a cheaper house. About my kids' education, that I will continue to pay in full, so it doesn't matter that we divorce as far as their education is concerned. Even their school bus and general upkeep is something I will do with love. What I can't pay, however, is the rent where their mother stays. The thing with false R is that the cheater goes underground in a lot of levels. In her case, she tightened the loopholes which had made me catch her in the first place. She stopped using home computer, she put passwords on her devices, hid every possible thing that could enable me to know what she is doing. To add insult to injury, she looked for, found and destroyed all the backups I had saved of her cheating emails. The net effect is that this created a distance between us, suspicion grew and the marriage became poisoned. Then she refused to work, preferring instead to do small-time businesses of selling office stationery, handbags, wallets, shoes, etc. Call it hawking. I believe this is how she met the other man. In my first post I wrote that my new business which I moved to our new position to set up is now at least giving me some money. Because she doesn't like the business. Or me for that matter, she doesn't know this. To her, the business was a bad idea. It translocated her from her social circles. It's not prestigious for her to brag about and it loses me money instead of spending on her. I really struggled for the first 2 years as any new business would. But now I can see returns starts to trickle in. She doesn't know this. Actually, to her I have lost the plot, and I think my paying of school fees for my kids will be good enough for her. But again, who knows? As many have already pointed out, she might change to some animal I cannot recognize, but I think that even if any court was to demand of me to pay her alimony, or upkeep, it would have to be proven that I can afford the amounts decreed. She knows I'm broke, she doesn't expect much. If she asked for anything like that, she would have a hell of time proving that I can afford it. She many times sympathizes with my foolishness of running a business without a future. She is that gullible. I am talking to a lawyer, and he thinks my chances are very good when it comes to sharing family property. Blame karma, there is none. All the property I have, and thanks God for it, I acquired before I married my W. In the 11 years of our marriage, I think my mind went on recess. My positive energy got stunted and my self-drive got consummated by negative forces. Let me tell you, a bad marriage can finish the strongest being. My personality needs a soulmate, a confidant and a fellow dreamer. You can imagine my pain having to daily deal with a ditherer, a cheat, a killer of dreams. 11 years lost. I can't wait to recover lost time. Say I decide it's her to leave and not me, she will never do this voluntarily, short of her discovering the house will be hit by an earthquake. In which case she would simply camp outside. Now throwing her out means packing her bags and putting them outside. The first thing this woman will do is to summon the kids and how their loving dad has thrown them out. How I hate them, how I will bring another woman with her kids to their home, and how she always knew this is what I would one day do. Now my kids are too young and would naturally side with their mum, whom in this situation will clearly be the victim of a cruel, unloving, and devilish father. They wouldn't even agree to live with me if I went and got a court order to that effect. I would, at least until they reached an age of understanding. I would be the devil reincarnate. On the other hand, if I choose to be the one to move out, she will still tell the kids how I have abandoned them. How I'm going to start a new family, blah blah blah. But at least in this circumstance they will not witness their mother huddled outside their home, homeless. Those telling me that she is the one to move out, exactly how do I make this happen? She is unrepentant. In fact, she will fight whatever evidence I bring, short of video. Now my dilemma is the amount of time the collecting of more evidence will take. Can you imagine living under the same roof knowing how she is screwing the OM? And pretending I know nothing about it and acting as if all is well. It's so painful. I can't just continue sitting here and pretending that all is well. Tonight, she made my favorite dinner and I had to sit at the dining table, and though my kids enjoy this very much, I was bleeding inside. I don't know if I can just continue sitting here pretending all is well as I wait for maybe 2 more weeks for more evidence from the pie. You wouldn't spend 2 weeks sleeping next to a python that is ready to swallow you, would you? She is emotionally attached to the kids that I'm sure, and the kids love her just as any kid their age loves their mother. But I think when it comes to choosing between someone who professes love to her, she might choose love from the man over love for her kids. If you look at her life since Thea became a parent, I think this hypothesis can be proven. Last says she chose to spend the day with the other man instead of going to pick our kids. She has already chosen to spend evenings with the OM instead of doing homework with her kids. She makes 1 to 2 hour phone calls to her other man and exes in the presence of her kids. Do the math. The kids are mine. I have not verified by DNA and I won't. Let's put it this way. What will I be proving if, say, I find him not their biological dad? She cheats, that's proven, so DNA, whether positive or negative, will not answer that question. Supposing they are not biologically mine, I'm still their dad, right? It's not like I will stop loving them or paying their upkeep or whatever. They know me as their father. And their dad. A man can only take so much beating at a time. Luckily, maybe, I'm not in the USA, though I have lived there on and off, so I might get away with some things I couldn't get away with if I was there currently. Things like setting spy cameras are more relaxed here, and the legal systems are very different. In a good way. She cannot, for example, use the law to force a share of property that I owned prior to my marrying her. Also, the laws here are not as straight, clear-cut, and as complex as they are there. For example, getting her phone records with so many details would almost be impossible to lay my hands upon in USA. My worry is that I have already revealed so much about my situation. A few more details and someone who knows her might alert her. At this point, it's very important that she doesn't know of my plans. 1. I have evidence that she goes to this man's house often. As someone pointed out, she might argue that he is gay, or that she goes there to learn how to play the violin. If that be the case, then she should take me there coming Sunday afternoon for tea. I too can do with a lesson of playing the violin. And I don't have enough friends. I could do with one more. Even a gay one. 2. I have evidence that she calls him often during the day and always usually the last call or messages at night, even when I'm not at home. She doesn't call me before she retires to bed. But she calls him. What a lucky friend. 3. About exposing her to her friends and family. I will do it. The reason I will expose her to her loved ones is so that they can understand that it's my decision to leave her and not the other way. That way she can't yearn and twist stories to whitewash her whorish lifestyle. I will, however, not confront the other man. It is useless to do so because if she is a serial cheater, as many of us feel, then I will have to be her bodyguard to fight all the other man. I signed up to be her husband, not security officer. 4. The biggest decision I have to make is that one of who moves out. This woman will not walk out. Never. She would have to be thrown out. Many on this forum have argued that she should be the one to leave, not me. So how exactly do you make that happen? I have already explained that she will use the kids as her shield. She will get them involved in an ugly way. She will wail persecution. She will tell the kids that I'm throwing all of them out of their house. That I no longer love them. That I have another woman with her kids that I want to bring to their home and all such kind of stuff. This is the last decision I have to make. If only someone can show me how to throw her out without the kids being drawn into this mess. I'm thinking Friday would be a good day to confront her. Couple days later, breaking news, I confronted her tonight. I came home at about 9 p.m. She was in the gal's bedroom. I remembered people telling me that my gals are not as young or naive as I may make them look. And I felt this urge to get in and we just have this conversation. So, I get in. It's like my W could tell something big was about to happen. She's there lying on the elder one's bed. Both the gals were lying in the younger one's bed. So, I sit on the bed W is lying on. And my talk with the gals begins. Life sometimes doesn't work as it should. Life is full of ups and downs. Sometimes things don't happen as we want. There will always be challenges in life. I and your mum love you very much. That you must always know. At this time my eldest starts weeping. The youngest is all jolly and happy. She always acts the tough one. The moment is very tense. W is all quiet. Your mum and I love you gals, but that does not mean mum and I love each other the same way we love you. It's likely that your mum loves another man. That happens. It's life. Sometimes grown-ups do that. Unexpected silence from W. Now both kids are visibly in tears. The eldest looks very hurt. The youngest is mainly crying cause the eldest is crying. W is sheepishly quiet. Your mum loves another man than she loves me. His name is P.D. She's is just quiet. Now even I get uneasy. The gals are like P. Who? Is it true, mum? Is it? Say something, mum. She is just there. This time not sheepishly but like a sheep. Pan intended. From there things deteriorate very fast. Everyone expect W is hysterical. And the eldest is like, Dad, don't do this. It's not fair to mum. It's not true. So I'm like, okay. Let's go. I'm going to show you the man and his house. Now let's go. By the time we reach my car, what I had suspected my W would do is already happening. She is regrouping. Wailing is more like it, creating a tension, but I think I'm ready for this. By the time I start my car the eldest is in, unfortunately. The youngest gets caught by the mum. The two of us are gone. I drive away with the eldest. Can I hear someone yelling in the background or am I imagining? When we get to the main road, the eldest calms down, and she is like, Dad, drive carefully. I didn't know I was driving not so well. So I calm down, and all seems well. Then I take the first turn and the next then the gal says something that shocks me. Dad, we've been here before, with Mum, okay? Dad, you are right. Mum brought us here once to collect a garden umbrella. The one we used during my sis' birthday. Turn right, Dad, now left. Slow down, Dad, we are almost. Now turn immediate left. That's the house, Dad, now just park somewhere. So, I park. It's a block of apartments. There are many blocks. But my daughter guides me to block E. From my previous PI work I know the other man stays in E2. It's simply not coincidence. The gal has been there before, and we get to E2, we knock, no answer. We knock, nothing, and then another miracle happens. Miracles do still happen. Dad, why don't we check with the neighbors? Let's just knock the next door. Just knock, Dad. Who is the neighbor who comes out of the next apartment? My former employee. The immediate next door neighbor to the other man is my former employee. He knows the other man. They are buddies. So much for one night, folks. It's late here. I'm so tired. Tomorrow, please. This former employee of mine and his wife are having some red wine. I gather they have like 2 kids. Shock is written on their faces. What is it I'm doing there at this hour? With a young gal knocking on doors. So, I tell them my story, why I'm there at that not-so-holy hour, whom we are looking for and everything, and they narrate their story. The other man and probably 26 or 27, single and never been married before. My W has been visiting him for the last like 3 years. This guy is described as sort of weird, never seen with other girls, hand washes and irons his clothes. Never has any visitors whatsoever. Cleans his house. Drives a red Toyota car. Although my host has invited the other man several times whenever he has functions in his house. The other man has never had any sort of function all these years and has never invited him to his house even for a cup of tea. The other man works for a company that distributes wines and spirits, and then it occurs to me that about 3 to 4 years ago I actually met the other man at his company. And who took me there? My W. I think at that time, my W had gotten a deal to transport some wines and spirits to some neighboring country. And if I'm not wrong, she had gone there to pick the now infamous garden umbrella. the sort given freely by such companies for advertising. The umbrella was branded some of their alcohol products. So, we find that it's getting late. My friend escorts both my daughter and I go out car. He shows us the other man car parked ostensibly not more than 4 parking space slots from mine. As we drive off, I find my father-in-law calling me on my phone. I give it to my daughter to answer. Clearly both my W and my Phil are cut from the same cloth. I can hear my daughter protesting. It's like she is being told all this is not true, that my W is innocent, etc. My daughter tells him she has been to this other man's house with my W, and the old man will hear nothing of. At this point I'm losing my patience. I pick the phone and I let the old man have a few of my not too kind words. I tell him that his so-called loving daughter is not as innocent as he would like to believe, that I am through with this marriage, that he should encourage her to move to the other man's house, and that it's final with us. We get back home. It's late now. My W is in the kid's bedroom. I don't to her and I let her sleep there. She better get herself a good sleep, 'cause it might be her last in this house. 1. Most of you advise me to not leave, that she should be the one to leave. I kept asking, how do you ensure that she is the one who leaves? Short of throwing her out, how do you get her to be the one to leave? 2. I told you that she would draw the kids into this ugly scenario. I warned that she would draw them into the chaos, so unless we now want to bury our heads in the sand, the kids were going to get involved anyway. The question is this. Was I going to wait for her to get them involved in her own way, or were I going to seize the situation and get them involved in my own way? I wish we could somehow explain these issues. The issue of who keeps the house or moves out has been cleared. We all move, each their own way. The thing is, she can't afford to pay the rents I have been paying for this house. Neither do I need this big house alone, so this is the last month we are paying for this house. We have mutually agreed on the various things like finances and kids. Tomorrow we go formalize this with our lawyer. She has agreed that we can all sign up a joint document detailing everything and get it filed in court. She is not keen on court engagements at all. After all, there is no significant difference of opinion on how to move forward. We both will have equal access to our kids. We both will get our new homes with enough facilities to cater for the girls. For the foreseeable future, the kids continue attending same schools. We have also agreed that in the starting week, the children start counseling. We should finalize tomorrow on a good counselor among the ones we are looking at. Now concerning W, she has refused to divulge anything about the other man. She is in total denial. She doesn't know how much I know. And she thinks it's not much. Her attitude sucks. She thinks this thing will just go away. It's hard to understand how this woman can be so ignorant, to her. I did very wrong to tell her best friend about our situation. She thinks it will be spread around as gossip, and that worries her quite a bit. Today I told her that I will need to take marital bed with me. But her reply is shocking. She thought that we should be discussing how and when to buy a new one as the existing is due for change. Talk of someone in denial. Tomorrow after we visit the lawyers, I want to go look for a house for myself. I will probably be looking for a 2-bedroom house. The spare bedroom will be for my girls. The irony about all this is that I have been working at building us a permanent family suburban home, and we were due to commence the construction this September. Now everything must change. Yes, the project will go on, but clearly not for this W. How sad. Cleaning own clothes and house. In the country where I am, labor is very cheap. I mean, this chap is a senior fellow where he works. He probably earns $12,000 a year minimum, but he could be making up to $30,000. Now, a day worker will cost $5 here at most. Nobody that I know of, a bachelor to boot, would do these chores for themselves. This guy is hiding something and I don't know what it is. Clearly, he doesn't want anyone in his house. It sounds a bit eerie, but something just doesn't add up. Also remember that his next-door neighbor for over 3 years has never entered this other man's house. Yet the other man has been to my friend's house severally. The fact that he is having an affair with my W doesn't explain the level of secrecy and privacy he has surrounded himself with. I know that my W goes there about once a week, so the other man ought to be living normally the rest of the days but keeping everyone else off on the days of her visit. Also, I remember my friend telling me that this chap never discusses anything private with them. Not about his family, friends, nothing. Weird. In the last 3 years I have been working on a huge investment project that has been both financially and energy draining. In fact, I moved my family nearer this project just so that I could keep a close eye on put it up right. It meant moving my kids' school and our family relocating to a less privileged neighborhood. It separated us from friends and loved ones, but I told myself that at least my immediate family, my W and kids, were going to be there for me. But, alas, this never happened. Whereas we physically moved, my W refused to be there for me in any way except physically. No moral support. No shoulder to lean on, nobody to bounce ideas off. No confidant, no conservationist. Nothing. If you have ever undertaken such a grueling project, you will attest to how much one needs approval from the person who matters most, the spouse. I have spent many days feeling lonely, confused, lost and unloved, and I have often wondered how someone can be so uncaring towards their life partner. How can someone be so indifferent? She won't care what loans I have or whether I'm repaying them. She has been so peripheral. And I always wondered, why is she that way? Now that I have discovered why, everything that I have been wondering and disturbed about finally falls into place. My W checked Pitt a long time ago. I think she met this other man mid or early 2017. That makes it exactly 3 years now. Just about the time I started this project. No wonder she has been so absent in my life. So now that I have discovered, a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. The jigsaw puzzle is complete. The pattern is clear. I'm relieved. After my last night's post, she availed herself to talk about everything, or at least that she was willing to address. The other man is an accountant. These two are in love, according to my W. What she described to me is like they are having another marriage. Only that theirs is more real than mine. She calls his house her safe heaven. The way she described how they hang out there together. It's like a new couple in thrills of newfound love. They watch movies a lot and they like the same movies. They do business together like some form of partnership. They discuss everything and they share finances. And she cooks in his house and basically do everything together like a normal couple. Asked if they have had slept together, her answer is very straightforward. She says they are a normal couple. When I ask her how their physical life is, she goes on a wildly circumlocutory argument about how terrible I am. How theirs is deeper than a physical affair. How to me everything is about being physical. How the other man was patient for over 1 year. How deep there are is etc. My W is deeply in love with the other man, and she has no remorse whatsoever. When I ask her whether she is not concerned that I found her out, or how I got to know about them, her answer is very strange. She says they were bound to be found out anyway, and my thinking she is seeing a future with the other man, and it increasingly looks like she is the one leading their relationship. She decides when to see the other man. She seems to have put the other man in a trance. She is very indifferent about her having to move out and our marriage ending. In fact, she sounds so ready. It is so unnerving. Her main concern is the worry this is causing the other man, the distress and all. She argues that he is a very fine human being who deserves to be kept out of all this mess, and she feels like she should protect him. The lawyer says we wait for the draft agreement today by email, and after reading and discussing it with W, we go tomorrow ready to sign up. I think my wife is eager, even relieved. My comment: what do you think about this short story? A decent ending, although OP never updated after the paperworks are done. Maybe he just wants to forget about a relationship. That's all. What you would have done here? Comment down below. I will go take my nap to prepare more stories for you guys soon.